12 minutes to 9, driving instructors' leaders have criticised the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency for its handling of lockdown. They argue the agency has caused confusion and frustration for thousands of learners and instructors. Morag Kinnebra reports.
Like many, 18-year-old Megan Stephen has missed out on traditional coming-of-age celebrations and milestones like leaving school. She'd been learning to drive when the pandemic struck, and while she's passed the theory section, the practical driving test was suspended.
It's been quite infuriating. I've had no confirmation of my next test date. They said they would email me up to 2 weeks before my test date, but I've had nothing, so it's all very confusing. When it does come to my test date, I don't know how prepared I'll be because I've not had formal lessons. I've not been able to go out with my mum because we don't know if it's essential travel, so it's not very fair.
In South Uist, driving instructor Angela Campbell lost all her work in March.
I haven't taken any money in for driving licence at all since then. So yeah, it's had a very big impact. Basically zero income since then.
She argues a mobile testing unit should be sent to the islands more often after lockdown to cope with a huge backlog of learners wanting to sit their tests.
It's tough. It's tough for the young ones because driving is such an essential skill to have in the islands that they are missing out massively.
We constantly clean the cars down before and after lessons.
There's no PPE being worn here, but a full wipe down's taking place before this lockdown lesson.
Now, what's the speed limit here?
20.
Good.
Instructors have been allowed to work if they're teaching NHS or critical workers.
Checking for any vehicles coming from the right.
Steve Jackson runs Compass Pro Drive as well as being vice chair of the Edinburgh Instructor Association.
It's a calculated risk that we're taking in order to make sure that people get to the places that they're really needed. What I'm doing right now is definitely going to be worthwhile when you get the likes of the nurses that we teach getting to the patients that are really needing it.
Oncology staff nurse Michelle Thompson sat and passed her test last week, meaning she no longer has to take 2 buses or a lift to get to her shift on time.
Being a nurse, you're working long enough shifts without having to add an extra 2 hours on your day. Now it's only an extra half an hour travel. The difference it's made's unreal. I'm just jump in my car and go, and it's less stress.
The group representing driving instructors, NASP, has written to the Driver and Vehicle Standards Agency criticising what it says is a lack of clear guidance. It says there's a risk some instructors are resuming training now without proper guidance, whilst others risk not being able to adequately prepare pupils if tests resume with little notice. Steve Jackson again.
The DVSA should be the ones that are telling us and informing us and helping us, and we're not getting any of that, unfortunately. And it's just a lack of communication. It's not being fed out as quickly as we need it. There's conflict information because we can teach NHS and key workers, but if somebody's got their test booked for June into July with no idea of whether the tests are going ahead, we're not allowed to teach people who have got their tests coming up. OK, so up at the lights, what we're going to do is we're going to turn left.
The DVSA declined to be interviewed but said they understand how challenging the current situation is. Safety is the top priority and they're keeping the situation under constant review in line with government guidance.
What we've got ahead of us.
They've said they'll continue to work closely with driver instructor associations on how and when driving tests and lessons can resume in Scotland and other parts of the UK.
Brilliant. Good. Excellent.
Morag Kinnebra reporting there.